Hello and welcome to Edenvale. I am so happy and so grateful to have each and every one of you, and I just want to welcome you and thank you. If you're like me, you've been taking notes. I have so many pages and pages of notes that I've taken over the years of things I've noticed, red flags, contradictions, so many different clues in this case. But now together we're going to have a look here and we're going to discuss this. So hopefully you're comfortable. Grab yourself a tea or a coffee. Get yourself set up in your most comfy chair or your sofa, or maybe you're in your bed watching. And when you get a chance, say hello in the comments. Let me know where you're from. What part of the world are you watching from? It is so fun to connect and to see all of the different people who want to see results, who want to have answers in this case. So let's get started.
I'm gonna go question all these damn drug dealers and everything like that. And and they reluctantly said, go ahead. I says, I think y'all should put pressure on them and get a list of every person they know. And if it was me, I'd lock them up or whatever, and then start asking questions. But it's not up to me. But
yeah, why would you do that? Why from your perspective?
Because okay. Vanhillroad, if I don't want to get him in trouble or nothing, but everybody goes back there looking for pills, meth, or whatever it is they're looking for. And we see all kinds driving back through there. We even see a car coming back there just barely running on 2 cylinders, just everything they got to get back there to ask him if he's got a pill or whatever. It's crazy. I mean, my neighbor has caught people parking our driveways, sitting there doing drugs, either early in the morning, late at night, or whatever, many times over.
So basically that's a drug corridor, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so people go up there to cop dope?
Yes. Or they, and then there's the other places, I don't know where they're all at, but they all intermingle, and you know how that kind of works, I guess. But
well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of dynamics always, right? There's a lot of moving parts. So
yes.
Back to Summer for a minute.
Do you think at this point that she is still alive?
I really don't know. Hopefully, yes. Depending on how bad or what's going on with her. I mean, we hope, there's always hope.
I feel in my heart that somebody has came up here and took her, has lured her away from here.
At this point in the search and investigation, do you believe Summerwells is still alive?
We hope so, but honestly, we just don't know. I mean, we're holding out hope, doing everything we can. Obviously, we typically would have found a child at this stage in the investigation, so honestly, we just don't know.
We smoothed it all out. I mean, it's just we weren't on the same page, a lack of communication.
The following day, Bly filed an order of protection against Wells. In the order, she says Wells drinks and throws things and that he was mentally and physically abusive. She said, quote, I am afraid for my children and myself.
Because we were fighting, of course, people are going to tell the police whatever to get their way. We've worked it out. She's apologized to me.
4 days later, Bly asked for the charges to be dismissed.
Yeah. Those kids come here in the summer before Summer died. They're filthy, and so is the mother.
She was a tomboy. I shaved my head. She wanted to have her head shaved like me and the boys did.
She tried to shave her head
in
the back and make it, I think you can see it in some of the pictures, and it was getting out of control. So we decided to shave her head off and let it grow back long, and she shaved her head so she wouldn't feel bad. And but but it didn't bother her at this point.
While we were out at one point doing survey lines, and there was a flash of a car that went up Candace and Donnie's driveway, something about it struck me wrong.
We heard just this kind of shrill, almost animalistic scream.
Animalistic, but not an animal.
Knew it was, wrong. It wasn't a dog, it wasn't an animal.
Penny for your thoughts, Leslie. Where are you at?
Honestly, I think Candace done something to her. Because Candace was jealous of that little baby.
Why though? Why would she?
Because that baby was getting Donnie's attention.
Oh, okay. So it's a pull between dad or the child.
See, and a little
Is that right? Is that what you're saying?
And a little dark secret that no one knows. Candace's mom told me this one. When they found out that they were pregnant with Summer, Candace's mom was supposed to adopt Summer.
Because she was a girl.
Because she was a girl.
Oh, interesting.
They wanted boys. She wanted boys. But Donnie
wanted a girl.
Yeah.
And he got his girl.
Yeah.
Looks like it's still back to somebody abducted her.
Are you involved with some people that could have possibly done that?
No. I try to stay involved with church people and good people and stuff like that, especially for my kids' sake.
Harris says she spent the entire day with her daughter and granddaughter. She says it started with a trip to the emergency room to have her knee checked out.
They prescribed me medication to take to get the swelling down out of my knee and around my knee because it was inflamed. And then we waited around for my prescription. Summer went swimming that day at the horse stables, I believe it was.
After the family returned home with groceries, Harris says she took a nap, woke up and repotted cactus plants with her granddaughter. She says Summer ate a peppermint, went inside the house to play with her brothers, and that was the last time she was seen.
There was no sign of her.
Summer is doing what?
Summer's just playing in the water right here.
Okay.
I'm just standing right here. All the flowers that died that were there on that.
Oh, so there were a bunch of flowers here?
There was a bunch of flowers right here, yeah, on this little petal. I don't know what, I guess they've all died now, but.
Okay. And where's Grandma?
Mom's standing right here.
Okay.
And I'm over here close to the edge just because Summer's in the water, you know what I'm saying? That's my thing.
Okay.
And she's just playing, like a normal kid would play in the water. And then Hunter came from wherever he was and come down here and was standing here. I don't want to get all wet, but he was like standing here and Summer was out a little bit further. They were pretty far apart from like me and your wife is.
Okay. Is that the TikTok video you took?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you can see how far they were apart.
Yeah, I can see it, right.
And with him sitting there saying that she fell on a rock, there's no rock. Where do you see a rock?
Right. Yeah, the only rocks I saw were right over here.
Yeah,
and then up there.
Yeah, they're way over there, and I'm right here.
Okay. So this is where she is, though?
Yeah, this is where she is right here.
Okay. And how is she, what's her behavior?
She's jumping around, splashing, having a good time.
Summer.
Just like Summer would always do.
Okay.
I mean, that's how all my kids are.
Okay.
They just splash around and have a good time.
Does she go underwater at any time that you see?
Oh, she just dips her head in, but sticks it right back up. I mean, it was only up to here at the time.
Where did this idea of under the water, where's that come from? Okay.
That just blew my mind when I heard that. I was like, she didn't even go under, because when she was playing in the water, I was literally taking the TikTok video just to watch, and I did different things because that's how TikTok is. You can do different things with them.
Right.
You see, there's a little tree there or a log.
Yeah, yeah.
She went as far as that, but not no farther.
Okay.
I just seen that she was underwater for 10, 15 seconds. So I was like, "Are you okay?" And I pulled up. She said, "Yeah, I'm just swimming underwater."
Okay, so you see a point where Summer is underwater
for 10 to 15 seconds.
Okay, walk me through that.
And so I'll go in calm as heck because I know she might just be messing around.
Did you think she was injured?
No,
could she have been?
She could have been. I mean,
help me understand that.
I mean, she could have been when she got back into the car, how the water gets through your lungs and everything else.
Okay.
And how she was in the hot car while they went to the stores and everything.
Okay, so let's go from the moment you see her, and what did you do?
I just threw my shirt down and just threw myself into that water to see if she's okay.
Okay, so you got scared.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, walk me through those emotions.
I was just like, I don't really get scared or nothing, to be honest. I just get a little bit like spooked.
Got it.
Spooked.
Okay.
Like, how do I put that? Like, spooked. Like, I get a little bit like shook for a second.
Right.
That's it.
Okay. She got nervous.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
And did you call her?
Yeah, I was like, Summer, but I don't know if you can hear underwater like that.
So can you see her underwater?
No, yeah, you could see her. I could see her. It's just that I always wanted to make sure that she was okay.
Got it, straight up. And what happened?
I just pull her up, bring her over my shoulders. I say, are you okay? She goes, yeah.
Did she spit up water or anything?
She did spit up water.
Was she laughing?
She was just laughing, yeah.
Okay.
I was just saying because after the effect of that, because it was a short period of time before they dropped me off that she said that she was missing.
Got it. You talked to Candace about wanting to talk to Summer.
Yep.
What happens?
She said no, I wasn't allowed to wake her up.
Okay, so she's sleeping?
To me, she appeared sleeping.
Okay, did it look like to you she was sleeping?
At the time, yes.
Okay.
But now that I look back on it, I really don't know.
Okay, fair enough.
And it just kills me. Because, you know, now that I look back on it, it's like, was she really alive? Was she sleeping?
My biggest fear is, you know, her being tormented or locked in a dungeon or basement or something, because she loved to be outside all the time. That was her, unfortunately, her downfall. 'Cause a lot of times the boys would be inside and we'd be like, where's Summer? Why'd you leave her out there alone? You know, go get Summer now. You know, and that's happened over and over again. And we'd come out and she would always be close by, but we was always coming up. She had to be outside. She was an outdoor person.
She's leaning against the milk. Is she sleeping?
She was sleeping, yes.
Okay. From exhaustion from that day?
Yes, she was. Where I woke her up early and she usually sleeps until 9, 10, even 12 o'clock if I let her.
Okay. How did the milk bottles get rearranged? Hunter said he had them on the floor and then he put them next to him.
They weren't.
Is that true?
No.
Okay, so walk me through that.
When we dropped them off, they were actually still on his lap.
Okay.
And he put them on the other side of Summer.
Okay. So he reached over?
Yeah, he set them over there by that. What's a black tote she had in there?
Okay. Was there? Where's that tote at?
I think actually my mom's got it still in her truck. It's got a bunch of crafts and stuff in it.
Okay, got it. And now from when you pulled up, did she just fall asleep next to that?
She fell asleep, I'd say maybe 5 minutes on the road.
Okay, got it. And then, so walk me through, you get home, you take the groceries inside. Is Don home, by the way?
No, he's not.
Okay.
Actually, I parked the truck and I opened both doors. It's really hard because this lawnmower of his. But I opened the doors up and I shook her. I said, wake up, we're at home. She jumped right up.
Okay.
Like nothing. I unbuckled her and I said, come on. I said, Mom, I'll be right back. Well, went in there and got the boys and they were sitting at the table. And I said, come on, let's get the groceries out. And we brought them all in the house, went through them all, did all that.
And this is her, that's her swing?
That's her swing right there.
Well, you're probably wondering, what's going on in the Summerwells case? We did get the good news. On November 13th of 2025, TBI agents were seen in the 3500 block of Van Hill Road in the area of Greenville, which is approximately 10 miles from the Wells residence. And they said they were pursuing a new lead. However, the details and nature of the lead have not been disclosed. So since then, there's been a lot of talk online here on YouTube, all over the place, on TikTok as well, Facebook too, and we are waiting to find out if they've found anything on that property. Now, it's a huge property. I hear that it is 27 acres of land backing onto that mountainous area. The people who live on the land, last name of Hill, they are acquaintances of the Wells. It has come out, Candace and Dawn do know the people on that land and that they have been on that property. It's not confirmed. It more so is just rumors at this point, but it seems to be like it's heading more towards being true. More that the possibility is more of a probability that yes, they do know the people, maybe pretty well. So anyhow, I did hear some talk online, and someone said the person who supposedly knows those people or possibly lives in the area, that Summer had been on that property before she went missing, and that possibly she had been there seeing the animals on that property. And so it just popped up in my mind. I was like, oh my goodness. I remember seeing photos of Summer in a location that I kind of had wondered about, where Summer was with a pony. I think it's a pony. And there's various photos. It looks like she's there at a barn. And in one of the photos, she's kissing that animal. She's, petting the animal. She's on the outside of the paddock or whatever it is. There's a gate there. I'm just wondering if this is that property in the 3500 block on vanhillroad. If this photo is actually Summer there on that very property where they're searching for her either remains or some kind of evidence in connection to her disappearance. And I thought, wow, this is almost like Summer is giving us a hint after the fact from beyond. And so let me know if any of you, possibly after seeing this photo, there's got to be someone out there who can look at this and say, yes, that looks like the barn or whatever, an animal that had been seen on that property. That is pretty interesting. So we found out on November the 18th of 2025 about the search. It was actually the FBI, the TBI, and the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office that were actively investigating the case. Now, hearing that the FBI got involved, it makes it all more serious. What exactly is going on here? Obviously, they don't want to make a mistake. We have heard that the property did have a pig farm, and supposedly they had a butcher there as well. Possibly they were selling the pork meat from the farm. I don't know exactly how that works, or if it's true, or if it's still running at this time. But it is very concerning because there was a huge case in Canada, the Robert Picton case. Now this one here was also a pig farmer and a butcher. He was convicted on 6 counts of second-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison. All right, so this case is done, but it's a very, very creepy case. He actually confessed to 49 murders to an undercover RCMP officer. The case sparked widespread outrage. This guy's farm became the largest crime scene in Canadian history. So again, this guy was a pig farmer and a butcher and turned out to be a serial killer. And it's believed that he murdered at least 26 women. So what happened in this case, the way it was discovered, there was a lot of rumors at first. It took a while before they caught the guy. But what happened was they executed a search warrant for illegal firearms on his property. After that, both brothers were arrested, and the police obtained a second warrant using what they had seen on the property to search the farm as part of the investigation. What they found was personal items belonging to the missing women, and they were there at the farm. At that time, the farm was sealed off, and then a task force came in to investigate the farm fully. So that was in 2002. Now, it took quite a long time. It was in the news for several years. But that first search warrant was on February the 6th. And then by February the 22nd of that same year, the guy was arrested again and charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. So obviously, they were able to get some kind of evidence from the property. So like I said, it took quite some time. And they had excavations continuing on at that farm all the way through November of 2003. That's a whole year later. Just to give you an idea of how big this investigation was, the cost of the investigation was estimated to have been about $70 million by the end of 2003. Now, as far as Summerwell's case, we really don't know if that's what's happening. It's kind of a similarity where we have a property which we're hearing was in fact a pig farm. And so right away, it kind of just brings back the memory of this case here. And you can see the questions that are coming out is how long does it take? You know, why haven't we heard anything? But it does take time for these kinds of cases. Now back to the Picton case. During the early days of the excavations, they had forensic anthropologists who brought in that heavy equipment, including 2 50-foot flat conveyor belts and soil sifters to find traces of human remains. Now, that was a huge operation because there were so many victims on that property. Like I said, he had admitted or confessed to 49 murders to an undercover officer. Now we're going into the next year. On March 10th of 2004, the government revealed that Picton may have ground up human flesh and mixed it in with pork that he sold to the public. The province's health authority later issued a warning. Another claim was made that he fed the bodies directly to the pigs. In 2003, a preliminary hearing was held, and the clothes and rubber boots that Picton had been wearing during one of the assaults was seized by police. Later, in that same year, lab tests showed that the DNA of 2 women were on those items. Now, Picton is no longer alive. In 2024, another prisoner attacked him, and that was the end for him. So one of the things that is kind of informative as far as this guy's case, Robert Picton, is that you kind of get the idea of how long it can take in order for the police, the investigators, to collect this kind of evidence. They've got to not only get the search warrant, but they've got to then start the work of actually finding something, collecting it, taking it in, having the forensics done on it to get that DNA evidence. So it seems like we've waited a long time, but that search happened on November the 13th, today being November the 26th when I'm recording this. That's 13 days ago. So we still have the possibility that they might have found something. I am wondering if they did find something. I kind of figured that the property would have some kind of crime scene tape on it, but we haven't heard about that. We did hear reports from people who live in that area that they saw, I think, up to 15 vehicles and possibly even a couple of trucks who had brought out some dirt, but that is still kind of more so a rumor because I can't really confirm it. So it leaves us wondering, you know, what did they find? Is it possible they found, let's say, some kind of clothing, you know, a shoe, hair? Did they find maybe a button or some bones? What other kind of evidence might they have found? What we're being told is that they did receive a lead, a new lead, and that they raided that property. So a new lead makes me think that somebody actually went and gave them a tip and said, hey, you know, we've heard that so-and-so happened, we've seen this, some sort of real substantial evidence where they could specifically go to that property, where they would have exact information to obtain the search warrant, not just something silly where somebody makes something up, but they actually had enough credibility to raid that property. Now, the guy who owns the property is in his 80s. So it kind of makes me wonder, like, he might be too old to be able to do anything like that, but that doesn't mean that someone else didn't act without him knowing and hide something on his property, which would make it more difficult for that person to hide something very well if there are family members there on the property, then it would be difficult, I guess, for somebody to do something without being seen, to get onto the property, you know, unless they get on from the back somehow, from a back way, let's say at night when no one's looking, or possibly he had been away from the property. The owner might have been away, and his family. I haven't heard much about who exactly lived on that property. There are so many possibilities. When you have such a huge piece of land, there is a lot of criminal activity in that area. So you just never know what could have happened. Now here we have the street view of vanhillroad. Here it is. And here you can see that, yes, it is a very rural location. You know, not many eyes watching, but there are a few homes, and there are some larger homes in the area as well, nicer properties. I have to wonder, like, would somebody have seen something? For example, here's that tree trimming location. This supposedly, this is not the same company that had been trimming the trees on the Wells property that day. If you recall, the tree trimmers were there that very day. I always wondered, why is it that they didn't see much? They didn't see what went on. I guess they could have verified having seen Dawn, or having seen when the car left, when Candace's car left, you know, stuff like that. But anyhow, so this is a different company is what we're being told, which belongs to the Hills family, I suppose. And here is, this is the 3500 block over here. So you see that, you know, there's not much. There are a lot of trees and it's very secluded. So there it is. That is the search location on the map right here. Here's vanhillroad where they live. It's approximately only 14 minutes away. Now that day they had been up in Kingsport, which is up here, and they had gone to Warrior State Park, the horse pond, which is in this area. It's up here. All right, so that day was spent up here, and they did search that horse pond back when it happened, but now they have gone down in this direction towards the west south of where the Wells live. And so if you recall, it is always the Beach Creek area that they're searching, which basically it is the same road. Beach Creek, you know, it's connected to this place. You know, this road, Van Hill, basically right here, it's the 347, which you would turn off in that direction, and here's Van Hill, you know? So it's just crazy to think of how close this property is to the Wells property. Now, something that's kind of odd, we haven't heard anything from Dawn and Candace. They have been quiet ever since this search happened. I find that kind of odd. Like, why don't they have anything to say about this? Could it be that this is looking bad for them and they don't want to speak about it? You see here, this property is a lot closer to this town. There's a little town here called Baileyton. So I guess it would be convenient to head down to this area for whatever, for groceries, you know, to grab some food, to do whatever. And you can also catch the highway here as well. vanhillroad goes all the way to this entrance here. So this is really interesting when we find out how close it is, and finding out the Wells knew these people, that they'd been on that property. So if these people had come on to the Ben Hill property, if they were not strangers, I suppose they had been to vanhillroad. Now here is Beach Creek, and from Beach Creek you get on to Ben Hill. You come back around this way and you come on, here's the driveway to get on to the Ben Hill property. So this is just, you know, if we know about the dogs, if somebody had been passing by here, what if somebody had seen Summer, you know, here, Summer had maybe come out to the road? I recall seeing that the dogs had actually been here, the Wells dogs. There was a video of them here on this road, and the creek is there as well. But what if Summer at times would come down with the dogs and walk on the road here, you know, just following the dogs? I don't find that odd, you know, to want to just come down the driveway and see what's there. That area there where they have the wood, they had a pile of wood. And so what if somebody had been here driving by and they kind of just grabbed her, you know? And then we cannot ignore the fact of what Hunter had said, that there was a creepy guy on the property, you know, touching the little kids.
And then while we were in the drive-thru, her husband calls her talking about this dude named Andy or Andrew on the property that's been there for like a week or so, she told me, that keeps stalking the little kids.
Who's that?
Some dude named like Andy or Andrew, I have no idea who it was.
Okay. And why did Don call?
I have no idea. He just called. I don't even know if he was working at the time.
Okay.
But if he was working, he obviously wouldn't know that there was some dude looking at the little kids. I'm sorry, but there's a nice car over there.
There's a what?
A nice car right there.
Oh, okay.
I just keep looking at it because it's nice.
So this dude named Andrew, Don calls Candace
and tells her about, I don't know if his name was Anthony, Andrews, or something with an A.
And tell me about that conversation.
All I heard was...
And how did you hear it?
I heard because I asked her why he called.
Okay.
The only thing that she told me from the phone call is that there was some dude, Andrew, Anthony, Andy, whatever it was. Okay. Just the name A.
Okay.
That's all I remember. Is that he's been up on the property for a week or two trying to, like, I guess she said touch the little kids. That's what I was told.
He's trying to have what?
Touch the little kids.
Touch like, the kids?
Like give him a hug or something. I don't know.
What do you think? Do you think that's true?
I mean, it could be because she's had this, name was Billy, right? Yes, Billy.
So that is kind of crazy that we have the introduction of a creepy guy and we have Summer missing. So was there a creepy guy that had come up to the property? Is that what happened? That somebody came up to the property and Summer ended up with that guy, and then basically the trail would end here at the end of the driveway if she had walked down. And, you know, it's just too creepy what we're hearing about in this area. And I would say you really can't trust anyone. Don't believe anyone who is commenting on the case. You don't know if it's true. A lot of what we talk about is speculation, but specifically if someone is putting themselves out there, trying to put their own story out there, when they should be communicating with the detectives, you know, it just doesn't look good. It's as if they want to preemptively get their side of the story out there in order to change the perception for the jury pool. In a way, they are changing the story to make themselves look innocent. So for that reason, you really can't trust anyone who is actually involved, people who lived in the area. We know there's been a lot of talk about substance abuse from many of these characters, questionable comments. One of the neighbors, Jody Sue, said specifically that they were giving substances to the children, substances to underage individuals, and so that is really crazy. This bunch of people are very unsavory, to say the least. Okay, that is putting it really nicely, to say that they're unsavory. And I really wanted to believe at the beginning that this was some kind of an accident. But, you know, I was trying to think, hey, this is not a case where maybe there was, you know, some drinking going on, but I wanted to think that yes, they did love the kids and that they were not abused. But there has been so much talk about more than just neglect that it could be this is going to be a worst case scenario. Very close family. For example, Mary, one of the stepsisters, and others who have come out and talked about the history of Dawn. You know, they are very concerned that what happened could be a reflection of things that they had seen in their own lives, in reality, in the past. But anyhow, let's have another look over here. Now, I saw there was one channel, the Dawn B channel, and he actually went over this area with one of those remote-controlled flying cameras, which they use for aerial photography. It's called a drone. So this guy actually went out and he got some footage, but he didn't see much. What he was saying was that he did not see, let's say, digging. He couldn't see that here it was difficult to see, but he was, from what I saw, it looked like it was really far away. But okay, look, have a look here. See, these are like hills here, and this is the area which I'm thinking this was the barn for the pigs. And this looks like the residence or the home, and they have some little outbuildings here. And so, maybe there wasn't any digging that happened in these areas. If you see here, if I turn it around a bit, but I'm thinking that whatever happened would have happened inside this building. If something happened, this is all speculation, you've got to wonder. And this is a huge building. So did they actually go in and investigate inside here? I'm sure they were looking all over the place, but we just don't know at this point what happened. We don't know what exactly they investigated. We don't know where they were digging, but we've heard reports that yes, there was dirt that was brought out on 2 different trucks, is what the neighbors have said. So could it be the drone footage doesn't show anything because whatever was pulled out from here? If you have something that you're trying to conceal, would you rather work out in the open, or would you rather have this area here where you can do whatever it is, no one's going to see you because you're behind walls, and no one is going to have the opportunity to get into there? Over the course of 4 years, you might see something, on the land if you're driving by, but there's no visibility in this building. And then when they went out doing the search for Summer, did they even, how far did they get? And even if they had that special technology where they search for areas, when they do the search from the sky and they're looking for heat, even if something had been seen here, there's other animals in this area. So to pick up heat, it would not be, like a red flag for something, for a heat source to be seen here. Now, how far does this property go? If it's 27 acres, does that mean that it goes all the way till here? Where is the property line is what I have to wonder. Are we talking about all the way back here, or is it just this area here? So this is just really, really crazy. Look at that. It's a big piece of property, and unfortunately the news, what we're hearing is that this place is not sealed off. It would be a good thing if, for this investigation specifically, if we did see that this place had been sealed off with the tape, the yellow tape, crime scene tape. That would be kind of like a verification that yes, there was something that occurred on this property. But if they haven't taped it off, then what does that mean? Does that mean that it was fruitless? So that is what I'm wondering at this point. It's kind of disappointing if they didn't find anything. I hope that they come out regardless and make a statement, give us an update. If you're not going to say anything, don't. But at least come out and speak and say, yes, we're still investigating, but we don't have anything as of yet. But I hope they do actually come out and say something. So another thing you guys might have heard about the rumors that actually that day when Summer was taken, that it was supposed to be another girl who was taken. There was a lady named Marlena. This is that story where the rumor goes that they had planned to take a girl because of some kind of debt, I think it was, retaliation or something like that. And that in fact Summer was not really the target, that she was taken by mistake, that it was supposed to be this other girl. And after the fact, it was too late. As far as the theory that this was pre-planned by Dawn and Candace, that they actually wanted to do this for their own debt, then I have to wonder, why did they call so quickly? Why did they call the police immediately that night, that evening, after 6, I think it was? Why not just let it go? If they planned it, why not just not call the police? Let some time pass by. That way they would have more time to, let's say, get rid of evidence, clear themselves from things, make a bigger story, put more time between themselves and the actual date when this happened. So I have to wonder why would they call the police so quickly? Let me know what you all think. There are so many theories out there. A lot of us think possibly it was an accident, that something happened at the horse pond where Summer had, let's say, a dry drowning, that she took in some water and that later on she didn't make it. You know, that things kind of made a turn for the worse. Or that she hit her head on a stone and that maybe there was swelling later on. Or that maybe there was an accident on the property, that something happened and then they tried to cover it up. I don't see how, you know, it could be a combination. It could be that there was, let's say somebody was driving by and something happened and then they took her into the vehicle to cover up an accident. Who knows? It could be anything, but we really need answers, and I hope they don't give up on this case. I hope they found something, and I hope that they're very close to finding answers. It's been too long, and it seems like there's too many unsavory characters. Something evil is going on in these hills, and I think they really need to get in there and clean this place up, because it's a mess. So again, guys, leave me your comments. Let me know what you've heard. We're all here waiting, hoping to hear good news that they finally found some evidence to figure out what happened. And I hope it comes soon. I'm really waiting for that press conference to hear some good news. I want to thank you for joining me. If you have information, just send me an email and I will do my best to get back to you as soon as possible. That is it for now. Let's keep our fingers crossed and hopefully there will be some good news. Thank you so much for joining me, and bye for now.